Howdy, y'all. Today we are making some family recipe salsa. This recipe was passed down from my grandma to my dad. We are making this in our home here at Crooked Pine Ranch. You could see my husband walk out of the living room. Our kitchen is extremely cramped, so when I put this table in the kitchen, it takes up absolutely all of the kitchen. So no one can come in the kitchen and help me when I'm making salsa in our kitchen. One day we're going to build us a house and it'll be much bigger and I'll have plenty of room to make salsa. So you're going to get to see me making salsa with a little bit of our life in the background. The kids, of course. Always a little comedic relief. So right now I'm just chopping up the onions. The family recipe is a very simple recipe. White onion, cilantro, carrots, habaneros, jalapenos, garlic, salt, and tomatoes. It's very easy, and vinegar. Of course, you gotta add a little vinegar to make sure that your pH is right and that it is canned properly. pH must be below 4.6. If it's higher than 4.6, it is over on the pH, and it will not preserve properly. So we always want to make sure that our pH is correct when we are canning salsa. It's very important. So you can get a pH tester from Walmart or, Amazon, anywhere. And that's what we did. Now I'm preparing all the habaneros. Habaneros this time of year, it's fall and it's hard to get good habaneros this time of year. Most of the habaneros are not any good on the inside, so I'm checking each and every habanero to make sure that they are good because they can be very deceptive. It's hard to find good peppers this time of year. There's a lot of peppers that go into each batch of salsa. When I go to the grocery store and I purchase the stuff to make the salsa, everybody's like, "What are you making?" And I'm like, "Burn your whole salsa, of course." My grandma and my dad, they never put a name on the salsa, but if they ever asked you or anyone ever asked them anything about the salsa, they tell you it's going to burn you. And so I looked over every name that I could think of, but Burn Your Hole stuck, because we're going to burn a hole, one hole or another. And so that's where the name came from. And this one is called Family Recipe. We also make mango with a splash of habanero, and it's really good as well. We also make what the heck, I'm trying to think of what the name of it, scorpion serrano mix as well. I haven't been able to get scorpion peppers this summer. My mom is in the process of growing scorpion peppers, but we have not been able to get them yet to actually turn into a pepper. We've had lots of flowers, it falls off, we don't ever get a pepper out of it. Not quite sure what the magic is with scorpion peppers, so we're working on that. I also make a ghost pepper experience, which is basically the family recipe with just ghost peppers added to it, so it gets that extra zap from the ghost peppers. To me, the ghost peppers make it taste extra sweet, and it's really delicious. So there's all the habaneros. At this point, my nose is burning. My eyes are watering. I am struggling to see. There's my daughter in the background trying to make a glove out of a sock for her Halloween costume. Creative children. We have artists in the house, so that's always fun. Now, a little more tomatoes. We're using canned tomatoes. You can use fresh tomatoes. It is totally your choice. My family always used canned tomatoes. So for family recipe, I like to use canned tomatoes because that's what my family did. And to me, it just makes it taste exactly like my dad's. The jalapenos take the longest because there's 26 pounds of jalapenos that I purchase every time. Usually I can make 2 batches of salsa with 26 pounds of jalapenos. Jeez Louise. So I do not take out any of the seeds. I leave all of the seeds in there. We want all of that extra spice and extra zing from the seeds going in there each and every time. I put them through the top of the food processor. That way they can go through the shredder before they get into the bottom of the food processor. It just kind of speeds it up and it gets us a finer cut. The food processor gets really worn down and I have to sharpen it a lot if I don't use the shredder first. So I recommend using your shredder first before you put them directly into the bottom of your food processor. You can use any size of carrots. This time I have baby carrots because that's just what I had in my refrigerator. My grandma always added carrots. It adds something extra to the salsa. A little thickness, extra vitamins, the whole 9 yards. It's just really good for you. Our kitchen is so small. You could see, like, I have no room to work. I'm sitting here laughing at myself because I'm like, it looks like I'm just spinning in a circle. It's just how tiny our kitchen is. Oh, one of these days I'm going to have a big kitchen with a big old island in it. It's going to be so nice. And I'm going to have a TV in the kitchen and a radio because I love to listen to music while I'm cooking. I was watching TV with Stuart, though, while I was doing this, and we were talking. We're almost done with all of the peppers, the cilantro, the onions. We've got the habaneros, we've got the jalapenos. All of those are getting in there. And then the last thing that I will do probably is the carrots, I believe. And then we will get this on the stove to cook. Once you get it on the stove, you want to bring it up to a boil. Once you've got it rolling and you've got those bubbles coming up to the top, you want to turn it down to simmer for about an hour. You usually end up with about 2 hours worth of total cook time because it does take almost an hour to get it up to a boil in the size pot that I'm working with. I'm doing large amounts at a time. So depending, of course, on how much you're making, depends on, whether or not it will take that long to get it to a boil. But I'm using a huge pot. Oh no, I didn't do the carrots last. I was wrong. I still have one more bowl of jalapenos back there. So the carrots, get those put in there. And then we'll finish up those jalapenos. Only a few more jalapenos now. The jalapenos are really fresh. They're really good. I didn't really have to worry about those too much. I don't know why habaneros were funky this year. Maybe it's just because so many people were in a drought and it was just so hard to grow anything. I'm not sure. But the habaneros were hard to get. But these jalapenos were really pretty. But jalapenos love to grow in the heat. You would think the habaneros would be the same way. But for some reason, they were just not as good this year. And usually where we go get groceries, the produce is beautiful. But habaneros were not amazing. Nice green consistency. We're trying to get as much of those peppers blended with as little tomato as possible because this is burn your hole. We want it to burn you. That is the goal. We make half gallon, quart, pint, and half pint. I do holiday jars, gift jars, anything that you're looking for. If you want a specialty order, we can do that as well. We definitely have people that buy the entire case and not just buy the jar because they know that they're going to go through it. My daughter and I, we do about a half a gallon a week, sometimes more, just depending on what we're eating that week. If I make a lot of tacos, then we're going to go through more. But her and I just sit down and eat it with chips and almost on a daily basis. So now we're getting ready to go onto the stove, adding our salt and our vinegar. and getting all of that in there. And I'm going to give that a ridiculously good stir and make sure that it is stirred up and all of those ingredients are mixed. I cheated and used already minced garlic this time. They didn't have the garlic that I wanted. I usually like to get elephant garlic because it's much easier to peel. That's my dad's spatula, and I like to use it whenever I'm making the family recipe salsa because it makes me think of my dad. There we go, 2 batches on the stove. Now it's time to get cooking.